Jeff Woody and the Brookville Bees looked at take down Northside tonight when they head to Roanoke County. Talked to the head coach of the Bees earlier in the week to preview that game. He also reviews the game against Rockbridge County and much, much more. It's Jeff Woody on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Always fun for me to catch up with Jeff Woody. We'd have to ask him the same thing. Head coach of the Brookville Bees. Bees head to Roanoke on Friday night to take on the Northside Vikings. And, Coach, always a good thing when you're practicing on Thanksgiving Day.
It's a national holiday. A couple of reasons. Obviously you get the good middles. You get to eat turkey and green beans and mashed potatoes and whatnot. But add to it the fact that you get to go out and practice organized football, pads on, in preparation for a trip down to Roanoke. Great time. I know before I was coaching high school football, it was a tradition that buddies of mine, myself, would get together and we all want to play football early in the morning on Thanksgiving Day. Well, we get to practice football and have a meaningful game the next day. Can't get no better than that.
Rockbridge County this past Friday night, you guys had a baseball score going there for a while, 2-0. Talk a little bit about the start of the game and, was it just bad offenses or really good defenses?
I think it's good Rockbridge football team is what it was. Two good football teams facing off, and we shot ourselves in the foot early. And when you play a good football team, you need to take advantage of opportunities. We got down there on the first drive inside the 1 yard line and fumbled, and get credit to that defense because it wasn't Brookville High School dropping the football; it was Rockbridge making things happen. But still, regardless, we've got to maintain control of that football. We've got to be fundamentally sound and hold on to that thing and get across that line. Next drive, same thing. We throw a pass and get down there inside the 5 yard line or somewhere around a 6 or a 7. And we fumble again, and all credit, give it to Rockbridge. God comes and pursues to the football, hustles, and puts a good hit on the football itself, and fumble again. And so, when you play a really good football team that's fundamentally sound up front and well coached, both sides of the ball, you got to take care of that football, and you got to get it in the end zone when the opportunity presents itself. Because if you don't, then you'll be stuck with that baseball score. And by the end of that football game, it was a dogfight, and Rockbridge had every chance and good chances to win, and in some cases probably should have won. As many times as we turned the ball over. Give credit to the defense, though. He stepped up and made plays when he needed to. Corin Kervin gets a sack on second down, and on third down, Tyler Pitts gets an interception to seal the deal. And we come out 19-14 on the good side, and, never question the kids' effort. They worked hard the entire game, gave 110%. Just those simple, mistakes. We fix those, which are uncharacteristic. We haven't had that happen to us this year very often. I think 4 turnovers is the most we've had all year, and we had those in one quarter. And, that second half, though, you look at it, we don't turn the ball over at all in the second half, and Rockbridge outscores us 14-13. We score 16 points in the first half, and we have 4 turnovers, so go figure. Football's a crazy game. Don't know why things happen the way they do, but I do know that the kids play for Brookville High School gave 110% the entire game, as did the folks over on the other sideline. That was a good football team, well coached. And, they played great up front. 56 is a great ball player. 74 is a great ball player. Their linebackers, 19, number 6, they were all over the place, and it was difficult to move the ball on them, and rightfully so. When you're senior loaded and they had all the experience, and they worked hard, and they had a great scheme, and just basically, 2 good football teams playing a good high school football game, and, you got your money's worth if you came to State Stadium on Friday night.
Crazy game coached by crazy people in some cases, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm crazy, no doubt about it.
You're the one I was talking about, don't worry. Let's talk a little bit, though, about rust. You guys hadn't played in, it seems like, months and years. Do you think rust was a factor at all?
I don't like to say the word rust. I don't like to use the word rust, but I will say this. We started the season on August 1st, and 2 weeks later we had a scrimmage game. We finished the season and practiced 3 weeks to prepare for that first playoff game, not knowing who we were going to even play the first couple of weeks we were maintain. But the kids and the coaching staff came up with a great plan for the 3-week process. And, we worked on ourselves. We improved some things. We added a couple of wrinkles, and we healed, if you will. Instead of rust, I'll say that our kids came out overly hungry, if you will. I mean, we wanted to make the play. Kendall was overthrowing the ball. He was throwing it high. It's uncharacteristic of him. And just everybody wanted to make a play. Everybody wanted to make the hit. And everybody was, in some cases, over-pursuing on defense because they wanted to get to that football and they wanted to get their hands on the running back and make something happen. And that being the case, I don't want to say rust at all. I want to say that we were, over ambitious. That's a good word. Over ambitious to make something happen. And in that case, we were pressing too much instead of letting things fall the way they would fall if we were playing a normal game. But rust is, if that's what you want to call it, I'm gonna call it. We were over ambitious and we wanted to make some things happen. And instead of playing fundamentally sound technique, hold on to the football, inside out on your pursuit to the running back. Kids were overdoing it, if you will, and it's tough to say you gave 100%, 110%, but they were overdoing it at the same time. But maybe it does take a game after you've been off for 3 weeks to get back on the ball, to get back into the rhythm of the football game. And as much as we ran in that 3-week off time, I don't think that we were really, football 4 quarters shape. And, we got ourselves back into the groove of things, and we got the feel of what it is to play 4 quarters. And I expect the kids to come out this week having that first game under their belt, if you will, although it's game 11. It's the first game under their belt, if you will. And
a new season, though.
It's one and done type season, too. And, that first postseason game under your belt with Northside on the horizon, and, we cannot go into a game against Northside in the Region 3 championship and be over-ambitious. We can't have any rust either, if you will. We've got to make sure that we're dialed in, we're fundamentally sound, we're blocking like we're supposed to, we're tackling like we're supposed to, and we've had a couple of good days of practice this week. And despite the bad weather, we got out there at Heritage High School and practiced on their turf yesterday, and got out there today, and it was a little wet in some places, but the kids are still hustling and happy to be out there. Exciting that we're on a break, and it's Thanksgiving break, and we're out there practicing football. Only 8 teams in the state of Virginia in Division III get to do that, so we're honored to be in that collective group of 8, and hey, we got to dial it in and finish it off, polish it up tomorrow, and make sure we present ourselves like the Seminole District wants us to present ourselves up there in Roanoke on Friday.
I'll tell you what, I know what you did on your off-week time, too. You must have hit that dictionary hard. Ambitious is a big word for you.
Come on now. I'm Renaissance man. I can do it all, Bob.
Hey, if I can't poke fun at you and needle you, then I'm just gonna fold the podcast up and put in the can.
I'm going to come up with a couple more words when this thing's over with so you can comment.
I got you.
Comment on it, yeah.
Something you don't want to put in the can is, the thought that Brookville is in the state semifinals yet, because you've got a tough one in Northside, and, we always talk about how you guys remember Richlands from last year. Well, you're Richlands to Northside. Talk about Bert Torrance's squad.
Anytime you play a Northside football team, you can expect fundamentally sound, well-disciplined. They do things the right way. They block, they tackle. They're well-balanced on offense. It's difficult to trick them on defense. And every year we've played them, it's been that way. Bert Torrance has those guys playing football. He's got some great athletes over there as well. And when you put good coaching together with great athletes, and you've got yourself a hard-nosed football team that's a contender every year. And we got utmost respect for those guys over there. And we've been checking them out little by little throughout the season. And now that we've had our opportunity to get our hands on some tape, and it's true that those guys are as good as it looks and as it says in the paper. 11-0 for a reason. almost become a rivalry, if you will, because every year in the playoffs in the past 4 years we've played those guys. And it's the fourth year in a row, and we've been fortunate to get the better of them 2 of those 3 years, and they got the better of us and won the state championship in 2009. Anytime you got a coaching staff that's continuously in the playoffs and that coaching staff has the state championship under their belt, you can't make mistakes and expect to win. You can't turn the ball over 4 times in the first quarter and expect to win. They're going to take advantage of every opportunity that we give them, and we've got to make sure that likewise we take advantage of opportunities that they may give to us.
I really compare the rivalry with you and Northside now as to what Amherst and Salem had.
That's a good rivalry to look at it for a good 3-4 year stint. Amherst and Salem had classic battles, and I was fortunate to go out there and watch a couple of them because we hadn't gone that deep into the playoffs. And when those 2 teams showed up on Friday night, you got your money's worth. And we hope that we can present ourselves well and we can provide a good product to show out there on Friday night, and we can give people something to talk about a little bit later on. But just like those Amherst and Salem matchups in the postseason of the past.
How do you look at it when Northside is probably a team that's not going to make a lot of mistakes because Adam Hardister, in my opinion, is just steady Eddie back there?
Oh, man, he's no doubt he runs the offense well. He's a 2-year starter. He ran it well last year, junior. And so now, he's a senior, and he's running the offense. They're very well balanced. I mean, he's got it well timed, motions, orbit motions, and that wing T offense is a lot of timing. And not only are they able to run the wing T successfully, but they can back out and they can spread it out. And he's got 4 good wide receivers to throw to. Those offensive line will provide him with some protection. And if you let him, he can pick you apart. It reminds me a lot like Kendall in that regard. If you let Kendall have some time, and he'll find the open wide receiver. He's been able to find Jackson. He's been able to find Fisher on a regular basis. And not only are those 2 really good wide receivers, but they've got solid wide receivers across the board. If you focus too much on Jackson, if you focus too much on Fisher, then another one's going to pop up and catch a pass on you for a touchdown, for a big game. And so, they're really challenging to a defense. You got to make sure you're solid up front and you can play the run and you can stop those 3-yard in a cloud of dust type plays. You also got to make sure that when they drop back to pass and that spread set, you get pressure on the quarterback first and foremost, and at the same time you got to cover some really good athletes. If we don't put an eye on number 12, we don't put an eye on number 44, we're going to be struggling all night. And with too many eyes on those guys, then they'll find somebody else to throw to.
Do you ever bring up the point to your kids that this could be the last game if we don't bring it?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's not an everyday thing, but, that the kids are very aware that this is a one-and-done type of season. Once you're in the postseason, you cannot overlook any opponent. You've got to expect that every team that you play at this point in time is very worthy. We played a very worthy opponent last week in Rockbridge, and not once did I think that our kids overlooked Rockbridge looking towards a possible matchup with Northside or a possible matchup with Richlands or a possible matchup for the state championship game. You can tell that in their faces and their eyes after the game was all over with. They were excited that they won the ball game, but at the same time they realized, man, we were almost in a situation where we were going to hang our pads up in some cases for the rest of our lives. But the kids at this point in time, and I'm sure that all coaches that are in this situation can say the same, the intensity level's up at practice. When you run your offense against a scout team defense, the scout team defense is playing a lot better, and vice versa, scout team offense will play a lot better. We've got a lot of kids that have come up off the JV level that have helped to improve our scout teams, and we're having practices that are very competitive, very energetic, and so they're making the most out of the fact that today, for example, could have been the very last day that they'll practice all year in pads. The plan is not to. The plan is to go out there and practice until the last day that every team can possibly practice. But it's a very anxiety-filled situation with hey, this could be the end, and but at the same time the kids are banking on, hey, we're going to win this game, and we're going to move on to the next one, and we're going to have another week to practice. And in that regard, you don't see very much left on the field, meaning they leave everything on the field. They don't leave anything in the tank when practice is over with. And, they leave the practice field feeling confident in the effort that they gave, and, physically and then mentally, obviously, your efforts are to figure out that opponent and what they do in their schemes and their tendencies, and, all in all to make sure that you get out there on Friday night and, present yourself well prepared, well disciplined, fundamentally sound, all that stuff.
Before we get to keys to the game, Northside a hostile environment?
Sure it is. When you're standing on that visitor sideline and you see that stadium slam packed, and they got good crowd support, they got a great fan base. There's going to be several thousand, let's say 3,000-4,000 people there. I mean, you got two undefeated teams playing. I'm hoping that Campbell County will show up in droves and support the Bees and fill that stand, the visiting stands up, because we're going to need it to compare to what those guys over there on the north side sidelines are going to have. They got a great atmosphere. It's a great stadium. The field's in great shape. It always has been ever since we've been down there. And they got them beautiful looking uniforms. And it's a top class quality program. And you can add all those together. You got great stadium, you got great fan support, you got great coaching, you got great athletes. You look good out there. It can be intimidating, but our kids are prepared for that. They've played in the playoffs. We've been down there before. We've been successful. That kind of thing, the intimidation that I talk so highly of, in my previous statements, I think our kids overlooked that and they're ready to go.
Well, you guys travel well too. Let's not pretend that you guys don't travel well.
We're going to have them out there. Yeah. And they'll show up. They always do. We'll be ready.
By the way, did you like the word choice I used?
What would you say? What'd you do?
Hostile environment?
Well, I did. I noticed it. But, I think we made that word famous back in the day.
We really should have T-shirts that we get patented and just say hostile.
Back in the day, no doubt. Back in the day, evidently you couldn't say hostile without getting in trouble.
Nope.
Obviously we were using that as respectful. That's a good thing. If you've got hostile fans, that means that they've got great fan support. It's going to be loud and it's going to be difficult to communicate. And it might throw your offense off their rhythm. But ever since that situation, I believe that. Everybody's starting to use Bob. So, we're trendsetters.
And the Albus-Woody combination, we create havoc, we spread peace, we do a little of everything. But, one thing, too, and your man brought this up when I talked to him earlier, Don Rice.
Evil man. Let's get that straight right there. Evil man.
No, you guys are boys. You guys are boys. But, Don Rice brought up the fact of, he got a little bit of heat for saying a few years ago, Pulaski fans come out of the woods and the whole town shuts down and everything, and people got offensive. But I think if you have the comment of the whole town shuts down, how can you get offended by that?
Doesn't everybody want that? I want the town to shut down to come watch us play.
Who doesn't want that?
I don't. Well, evidently some folks are offended by it and have other things to do that is, in all sincerity, more important than a high school football game on a Friday night. Man.
True, but if you can get that, go ahead.
If you can get that, that the other team that's coming in is going to be intimidated, or it's a possibility that they could be intimidated, and you're going to have a loud fan base behind you, and then they can rattle things up a little bit and possibly confuse that opponent. And hostile is and with all due respect, a respectful term to use in describing the opponent. And I think we've established that, and we just needed some, obviously some more important people other than you have to make that statement to make people realize that, hey, the lifestyle's okay.
Offense, defense, special teams, one key in each that gives you guys a victory.
Offensively, we've got to continue to move the chains. It's more first downs you get, the more time you take off the clock. Keep that potent offense off the field, and I think first downs equal touchdowns. So we got to make sure that first down's a good play. We can't wind up in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, heck, even 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7. We want to be in good situations on 2nd down, and that will help open that offense up a little bit more. Move the chains on offense. Good on first down. Defensively, we got to control the trenches. We can't allow them to establish the 3-yard in the cloud of dust wing T offense. And at the same time, here are two keys. We can't let Harders just sit back in that pocket and pick us apart. And so we got to make sure that we're playing solid in both phases. We got to stop the run. We got to stop the pass. But in all phases, I think it's controlled up front. We can control the line of scrimmage and prevent the 3-yard in the cloud of dust if we're playing good in the trenches with Victor, with Caleb, with Dee and with big man Corey Curvin. And those 4 guys can also put pressure on the quarterback, dial up some heat. So we got to control the trenches on defense, and on special teams, we got to get good field position. And you do that with good returns, with good punts, with good kickoffs, with good coverage. So, we want to control that field position and give our offense, good field position to start with.
Always an honor to talk to a Hall of Famer like Jeff Woody, Coach.
Yeah, you're the man. And don't keep quiet on that Hall of Fame stuff. We won't talk about that.
No, wait till I get the T-shirts made.
They've already made some T-shirts, and I tell you what, I'm not going to tell you what they've done with them. I was in the bathroom the other day and saw one of those T-shirts sitting on the stall.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you're one of my favorites to interview, Coach. Definitely best of luck on Friday, and hopefully we can do this again very soon, talking about a football game.
Hey, you're the man, Bob. I hope to be able to talk to you a little bit soon.
Jeff Woody on the Sports Buffet podcast.